Welcome home, family and fellow citizens of the African Order. I'm here with another video, and the topic of this discussion will be U-2, Me Too. I'm going to go back a little bit and bring up Governor Cuomo of New York. He's under fire right now for some inappropriate words and actions he had with some female workers. And since the initial accusation came out, you had a few other women join in. The Democrats are calling for him to retire. Governor Cuomo said that the Democratic Party did not elect him as governor. The people of New York did. So he's not retiring his position at any time. And there's a legal process that has to take place. He denied the accusations, and he's waiting for the results. And I fully agree with him. And I also agree with the Me Too movement. I believe that women should be able to voice what happened to them. I believe they should be believed when they do. But what I do not agree with is this piling on aspect. You look at each incident since this movement started, it's always been an accuser, then pile on, an accuser, then pile on, an accuser, then pile on. It's kind of like the Jetsons when George was trapped on the dog walk and just going around in a circle over and over again. It's the same pattern, and this needs to stop. When I was watching the report on MSNBC, one of the ladies was telling of a story that she had during a business dinner meeting where one of her supervisors had put his hand on her knee under the table. Another co-worker saw this, and they went to Human Resources and reported it. When HR called her in and mentioned the accusation, the first thing she said come out of her mouth was, the first thing she thought of was, I love my job. And see, when it comes to the Me Too movement and the Me Too women, they will put anything in front of reporting an incident. Their job, paying bills, whatever. If you get offended, as opposed to going and reporting it right then and right there, they will put anything, fear, doubt, they don't know, I don't know if they'll believe me, whatever it is, they'll anything to stop them from reporting the incident. Then when somebody else reports it, years later, now all of a sudden, now you want to join in. This needs to stop. And now you have Deshaun Watson, quarterback for the Houston Texans, and he just signed a big-time multi-million-dollar contract. He was unhappy with the team because they didn't include him in the search for a coach. So he wanted a trade. He demanded a trade. You had teams offering them 3-4 first-round draft picks, but Houston stood fast, and because they want to keep him. He's a good quarterback. So this is going on for a couple of months. So they already assigned a backup quarterback just in case Deshaun decided to hold out. And now you get these accusations. And first it's 1, then it's 6 more, then it's 12. Now it's up to 22 women. I'm driving, going to work last night, and I'm listening to the sports reporter talking about this incident. And he was saying how at one point Houston had, all the momentum. They didn't have to do anything with Deshaun Watson. They could have just held on to him. And now, with all these accusations that come out, he may be worthless now. No team is going to trade for him. He may not even be able to play for the Houston Texans. If these accusations be found to be true, he could be suspended. Then he's going to miss time served, which on his contract, he lose a huge portion of his money if he doesn't play a certain games or be on the team for a certain length of time. All these different little obligations that he has to fulfill to get all of his money. So he can go from being a multi-million dollar quarterback to being stripped of the majority of his money. Couple that by having to fight off 22 inappropriate allegations against him, he may end up being bankrupt. And you have these 22 victims all accusing him of inappropriate touching. One of them said that he forced them to have oral sex, but not one of the victims ever complained that they didn't get paid. This is what you do after you pay. Now, one of them complained about that. They ain't complained about the money. They just complained about what he did to them. This is why I believe that Me Too movement has absolutely no compassion for women. Let me say that again for the people in the back that may not have heard me. The Me Too movement have absolutely no compassion for women. If your motive for your organization is to have women's voices be heard, you have to encourage these women to come out immediately when these incidents occur. You can't come out and treat 22 cases with the delicacy and care that each of them demand all at the same time. You gotta encourage these women to come out. If you had any compassion for these women, you will have them come out immediately, because the longer you withhold this information, the less credible you be. Who want to believe you after this happened 6 months ago, a year ago, 12 years ago? Why didn't you say anything after all this time? And then when other women see this, it's just like when every year, well, not every year, but whenever the president is being elected, you get all these celebrities just throwing their hat in the ring, knowing dang on well they're not going to get votes for. Carrot Top, you had Arnold, Zsa Zsa, all these weirdo actors, comedians running for president. And some of these fools still vote for him. It's the same thing with this Me Too movement. These women are just throwing their hat in the ring just to get attention, I believe. And that sends the wrong message, because a lot of women want to join now just so they could be the next one in line. You be somewhere where a celebrity just so happened to be, and a woman accused him of doing something at that event that you was at. Now you could throw your hat in the ring and say, well, I got the ticket stub, I was there, blah, blah, blah. You can claim anything happened, and they'll believe you. This has got to stop. And the Me Too movement really, like I said, cared about women, they would encourage a 24 to 36 hour window that accusations have to be reported. Because the thing is, if you want to, your job is to protect women. And if a woman be violated by a so-called serial rapist, because this is what they're saying these people are, Deshaun Watson, Cuomo, they do it from one to the next. Well, if you're against that, put a 24 to 36 hour rule in place law in place, so that when this incident happened, this is the time frame that you have to report it. If not, the case is dropped. Because see, when this happens to you, and you wait 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, what do you think this person is doing? You think he just stopped? He's continuing this misbehavior with other women. You stop this by reporting it within 24 to 36 hours. Then you confront him, you question him, you can go there to look for evidence, and if evidence is found, you can stop him right there. Why are you sitting there each incident, not saying anything? You got 22, 15, 17. They had Donald Trump, they had like 30 something women or whatever accusing him or whatever it was. And you don't say nothing. They also should make a law that, let's say in the Deshaun Watson case, and a woman come out and accuse him, and then you get all these other women coming in throwing their hat in the ring. I will sort through all these accusers, and whoever said they was accosted first, anybody that comes behind them, that initial accuser is going to be an accessory to the crime. Because had you reported this when it happened, we would have stopped this guy, and he never would have offended all the other women that came behind you. I see nothing wrong about that. I see nothing insensitive about that. This is what the Me Too movement should be about. Stopping these occurrences from happening. You don't encourage women to go hide in the corner like cockroaches and wait 2, 3, 8, 9 years, then come out with 100 other people. And this guy has been doing this ever since you done kept your mouth shut. That's absolutely ridiculous. Me Too movement should stand up for this. They should encourage. They should demand that this law and this action be passed. Protect women if that's what you're truly about. But before I end this video, let me conclude by going back a couple of days or maybe a week or so when they was talking about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry or whatever his title is. When you had Sharon Osbourne attacking Cheryl Underwood, I heard bits and pieces of the episode that Sharon Osbourne was. I was shocked. I always thought Sharon Osbourne was a nice lady. I like Sharon Osbourne, and when she was going in on Cheryl Underwood, it's like when you know a person is not gonna fight back, now you be extra aggressive, and that's exactly what she did. Educate me. But first of all, Sharon, it's not Cheryl Underwood's job to educate you. What did she need to educate you for? If Cheryl Underwood was offended by what Piers Morgan said, she don't need you to validate her anger. The life and times we living in right now, they removing Dr. Seuss, some of Dr. Seuss books because of the insensitivity of some of the words in the book. They even trying to get rid of Pepe Le Pew, calling him a womanizer because he don't know how to say no to women. You cannot say whatever you want to say, especially when it's concerning a black and a white person. You have to be a little bit compassionate when you speak to each other. And Sharon Osbourne, you going in, explain to me, help me understand First of all, you set no barometer. Who said that we got to hold this conversation at your level of understanding? Just sit back in the corner and listen and let the adults speak. And see, and I was disappointed in Cheryl Underwood for allowing this chick to go in on her like that. I know you may have thought your job was on the line, but at some point, you can't let this woman punk you like this on national TV. She going in on you as you trying to go to commercial break. She's still chirping, and even when you come out the commercial break, she still. I asked you before, I asked you during the break, and I'm still asking you now. What did he say? You know, Piers Morgan and Meghan Markle has a little history. Now I don't do these videos to be getting to know celebrity gossip and all that crap. But from what I understand, Piers Morgan had like a little crush on Meghan Markle. And he sent out a flyer. She did not respond to it. And ever since then, he been going in on her. I've seen several videos where he's actually got up and walked off set because people were accusing him of a vendetta against Meghan Markle. And bruh, you shot your move. She's a nice looking. She's not a sister because her daddy white, but she's nice looking. You shot your move. She didn't respond. Move on. How do you sit up here and you believe Harry because you, Sharon Osbourne, Harry, y'all all British, but Meghan Markle, who's saying the same thing that Harry's saying, you say you don't believe her. How's that possible? Because you holding some resentment and some bitterness, and Sharon Osbourne. How do you explain that? How do you explain you could believe Harry, but when Megan say the same exact thing, you don't believe her? How do I make you understand that? We as black people today has got to learn how to stand up on our own. I don't care if your job is on the line. At some point, your integrity got to mean something to you. And if you are in constant fear of voicing your opinion or holding back what you want to say because you fear that your job may be on the line, then start building your own businesses and institutions where you don't have to have these people standing over you, hovering over you, and you can express yourself the way you should as an adult. Because see, Cheryl Underwood, she was sitting there looking shocked, talking about something. I've always considered you a friend. Yeah, you a friend to white people until you disagree with them. And as soon as you disagree with them, then they put you in your place. And I'm sick of these Negroes. They think that because they didn't laugh and giggle with these white people for years, oh, we're friends. That's a good white person. Until you cross the line, and you cross the line twice, as far as Sharon Osbourne is concerned, because Piers Morgan is white, and Piers Morgan is a fellow countryman, and you call yourself calling him a racist, and she's telling you to, what did he say? I asked you to tell me. Well, you have to, when they ask you that, whatever Piers Morgan said that you felt was racist, which what he said wasn't racist. I wish these Negroes would get the correct terminology. Because Piers Morgan he's not doing anything to Meghan Markle. What he may have said was a bigoted comment, but you want to call it racist. That's where you messed up at right there. But you have to keep in mind exactly what they said, so that when one of their supporters asks you to clarify what exactly did he say, you be able to recite it right there. And half the time, well, 90% of the time, that won't be good enough because they still won't see it as racist or bigoted. So explaining anything to Sharon Osbourne is just a complete waste of time. And I know, Cheryl, if you didn't feel your job was on the line, I know you would have responded a lot differently to this woman going in on you, because, I've been, in a situation where I'm the only one working and I got kids and stuff to support, and my boss is riding me, just trying to get me to overreact. And I've bitten a hole in my lip a couple of times because I knew if I lose my job and I lose my ability to pay for my home, my car, support my family, and at that time, my pride, man, that's a tough pill to swallow. This is why I say, again, we have got to start building our own businesses and industries so that we don't have these incidences. You coming to work this day just like any other day. You have no idea this is going to happen, and now all of a sudden, in the middle of a show, you confronted with the possibility that this may be your last day on the job, and you are ill prepared for this. We cannot keep walking around this vulnerable in 2021. Let's get ourselves together, people. Build businesses and industries, and this will stop the racism or bigotry. If it won't stop it, let them say it. You will have an ability to provide for your family outside of them. Because as long as you keep going to work and putting everything that you have and want in the hopes that these white people keep you employed, they can be able to say and treat you any kind of way they want. If you don't want to be arguing with these fools, build your own businesses. What's the point of keep complaining about how they treat you if you keep going back to work for them? Just sit back there and be like a puppet and nod your head and speak whenever they want you to. Because until you build your own, what other alternative do you have? Or you hold in all that anger, then you take it home and take it out on the first person that you see. Who is that going to be, your husband or your wife or your kids? But you got the balls to stand up to them at home, but nothing at the job. I'm gonna end this video here. If you like this video, like it, share it. Like the comment, the content, subscribe to the channel. And with this video, as with all my videos, it is for the complete liberation of my people. And I'll see you in my next message. Ashe.